Welcome back to our Reddit cheating stories. Please subscribe and let's dive in. The embossed invitation felt like a lead weight in Amelia's hand. It was a wedding invitation, beautiful cream cardstock with elegant calligraphy announcing the union of Chloe Sterling and Mark Harrison. Chloe, Amelia's younger sister. Mark, the man Amelia had harbored a secret, somewhat pathetic, crush on for the better part of a year. Amelia sighed, tracing the swirling letters with her finger. She should be happy for her sister. Chloe deserved happiness. Chloe was sunshine incarnate, effortlessly charming, and beautiful in a way Amelia never quite managed. But seeing Mark's name paired with Chloe's felt like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just the unrequited crush, although that stung. It was the utter humiliation of it all. Everyone knew Amelia had a thing for Mark. She'd been painfully obvious about it, bringing him cookies she'd baked, which he always complimented politely, laughing a little too loudly at his jokes, and generally making a fool of herself. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, he'd started dating Chloe. Had Amelia's obvious infatuation somehow pushed him towards her sister? The thought was mortifying. What's that sour face for? Chloe breezed into Amelia's tiny apartment, her blonde hair bouncing around her shoulders. She was wearing a sundress that showed off her tan, and her smile was radiant. Just the wedding invitation, Amelia mumbled, tossing it onto the coffee table. Chloe's smile widened. Aren't you excited? It's going to be amazing. We're thinking a destination wedding in Italy. Tuscany, maybe. Imagine, rolling hills, vineyards, fairy lights. Amelia forced a smile. Sounds lovely. You'll be a bridesmaid, of course. Chloe declared, grabbing Amelia's hands. You're my sister. I wouldn't have it any other way. Amelia's stomach clenched. Bridesmaid. Watching Chloe and Mark exchange vows, pretending to be thrilled, while her heart slowly shattered into a million pieces. It was cruel and unusual punishment. I don't know, Chloe, Amelia said, trying to keep her voice even. I'm really busy at work right now. Big projects, lots of travel. Chloe waved her hand dismissively. Oh, don't worry about work. Just take some time off. It's my wedding. It's important. That was the thing about Chloe. She was sweet, but she had a way of steamrolling over people's feelings, assuming everyone else's world revolved around her happiness. Actually, Chloe continued, her voice taking on a slightly calculating tone, there's something else I wanted to talk to you about. Mark and I were discussing the wedding, and, well, we think it might be a little awkward if you were, single. Amelia's eyebrows shot up. Awkward. Well, Chloe stammered, with Mark, and, everyone knows you kind of had a thing for him. We just thought it would be better if you brought someone. Amelia felt a slow burn of anger rising in her chest. They were worried she would ruin their perfect wedding with her pathetic, unrequited feelings. They wanted her to find a date, a prop, to deflect any potential awkwardness. So, you want me to find a boyfriend in the next 6 months, just so I don't make you uncomfortable at your wedding? Amelia asked, her voice dangerously low. Chloe winced. It's not like that. We just want you to be happy. And, weddings are always more fun with a plus one. Right, Amelia said, grabbing the invitation and tearing it in half. Well, consider this my RSVP. I won't be there. I won't be your bridesmaid, and I won't be your awkward, single sister ruining your perfect day. She threw the torn invitation at Chloe's feet. Chloe gasped, her face crumpling in hurt. Amelia. How could you? How could you? Amelia shot back. You knew how I felt about Mark, and you still rubbed it in my face. I'm done with this. I'm done being the supportive, overlooked sister. I'm done. Chloe burst into tears and fled the apartment. Amelia stood there, breathing heavily, the adrenaline coursing through her veins. She'd just severed ties with her sister. And she didn't regret it. Not one bit. Amelia threw herself into her work at Stellar Tech. She was a rising star in the marketing department, known for her innovative campaigns and meticulous attention to detail. Work was her escape, her sanctuary from the messy realities of her personal life. She'd been putting in extra hours, fueled by a mixture of heartbreak and determination to prove herself. She wanted to show Chloe, Mark, and everyone else that she wasn't just the awkward, overlooked sister. She was a force to be reckoned with. One day, her boss, Mr. Abernathy, summoned her to his office. Mr. Abernathy was a gruff, older man with a penchant for suspenders and a no-nonsense attitude. He was intimidating, but Amelia respected him. He recognized talent and rewarded hard work. "Amelia, have a seat," he said, gesturing to the chair in front of his desk. He shuffled through a stack of papers, his brow furrowed. Amelia sat down, her heart pounding slightly. Was she in trouble? Had she made a mistake on a campaign? "As you know," Mr. Abernathy began, "the position of marketing director is opening up. Ms. Davies is retiring at the end of the month." Amelia nodded, her mind racing. The marketing director position was a huge opportunity. It was a senior management role, with a significant increase in salary and responsibility. Every marketer in the company would be vying for it. "We've been reviewing candidates, both internal and external," Mr. Abernathy continued, "and I have to say, your name has come up repeatedly. Your performance on the Alpha project was exceptional, and your recent campaign for the Zeta line was a resounding success." Amelia held her breath. Was he offering her the job? "I'm not going to beat around the bush, Amelia," Mr. Abernathy said, leaning forward. "I think you have the potential to be a great marketing director. You have the vision, the drive, and the attention to detail that this company needs." Amelia's heart leaped. "Thank you, Mr. Abernathy. I'm very flattered. However," Mr. Abernathy said, holding up a finger, "there are a few concerns. You're relatively young, and you lack the experience of some of the other candidates. This is a high-pressure role, Amelia. It requires strong leadership skills and the ability to handle difficult situations." Amelia nodded, acknowledging his concerns. She knew she was young, but she was confident in her abilities. "I understand, Mr. Abernathy," she said. "I'm willing to work hard and prove myself. I'm a quick learner, and I'm not afraid of a challenge." Mr. Abernathy studied her for a moment, his eyes piercing. "All right, Amelia. I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to put you on a trial period. You'll act as interim marketing director for the next month. If you can demonstrate that you have what it takes, the job is yours." Amelia's face broke into a wide smile. "Thank you, Mr. Abernathy. I won't let you down." She left his office feeling like she could fly. This was her chance. Her opportunity to prove herself, not just to her family, but to herself. She was going to be the best damn marketing director Stellartech had ever seen. The first few weeks as interim marketing director were a whirlwind. Amelia was immersed in meetings, reviewing marketing plans, and strategizing new campaigns. She thrived under the pressure. She loved the challenge of leading a team, of making decisions that would impact the company's bottom line. She quickly gained the respect of her colleagues. She was decisive, fair, and always willing to listen to their ideas. She implemented new strategies, streamlined processes, and boosted morale in the department. Even her personal life seemed to be improving. She started taking a kickboxing class, which helped her relieve stress and feel more confident. She reconnected with old friends and started exploring new hobbies. She was finally starting to feel like herself again. One evening, she was working late in her office when she heard a knock on the door. "Come in," she called out, not looking up from her computer screen. The door opened, and a man walked in. Amelia finally looked up, and her heart skipped a beat. It was Mark Harrison. He looked uncomfortable, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. "Amelia. Hi. I didn't know you worked here." Amelia's mind raced. What was he doing here? Was he looking for Chloe? "Mark," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "What are you doing here?" I just started working here," he said, looking around the office. "In the IT department." "I didn't realize you were the marketing director." Amelia's eyes widened. Mark worked at Stellartech. And he didn't know she was the marketing director. How was that possible? "Congratulations on the job," she said, trying to sound nonchalant. "So, you're in IT now?" Mark nodded. "Yeah, I'm a systems analyst. It's a good opportunity. Amelia couldn't help but smirk. Well, welcome to Stellartech, Mark. I hope you enjoy your time here. Thanks, he said, turning to leave. I should probably get going. It was nice seeing you. You too, Amelia said, watching him go. She couldn't believe it. Mark Harrison, her sister's fiancé, was now her subordinate. The irony was delicious. The initial shock of Mark's presence at Stellartech wore off quickly. Amelia was determined to keep their interactions professional. She treated him like any other employee, giving him assignments and providing feedback. Mark, for his part, seemed equally determined to avoid any awkwardness. He was polite and respectful, but he kept his distance. He never mentioned Chloe, and Amelia didn't bring her up either. However, as the weeks passed, Amelia started to notice things. Mark wasn't performing as well as she expected. His work was sloppy, his attention to detail was lacking, and he seemed disengaged. She tried to offer him constructive criticism, but he didn't seem to take it well. He became defensive and argumentative, blaming his mistakes on the workload or the complexity of the projects. One day, Amelia called him into her office to discuss his performance. Mark, I need to be honest with you, she said, sitting behind her desk. Your work hasn't been up to par lately. You've been missing deadlines, making errors, and generally not performing to the standards we expect at Stellartech. Mark shifted in his chair, avoiding her gaze. I've been under a lot of pressure lately, he mumbled. The workload is insane, and I'm still trying to get used to the systems. I understand that it takes time to adjust, Amelia said, but you've been here for over a month now. We need to see improvement. I'm giving you a formal warning, Mark. If your performance doesn't improve in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have to let you go. Mark's head snapped up, his eyes wide with shock. You're going to fire me? I don't want to fire you, Mark, Amelia said, but I have a responsibility to ensure that everyone on my team is performing at their best. If you're not meeting the expectations, I can't keep you on board. Mark stood up abruptly, his face flushed with anger. This is about Chloe, isn't it? He accused. You're still holding a grudge because I chose her over you. Amelia stared at him, stunned. This has nothing to do with Chloe, Mark. This is about your job performance. You're not meeting the standards, and I'm giving you a chance to improve. I don't believe you, Mark spat. You're just using your position to get back at me. This is pathetic, Amelia. He stormed out of her office, slamming the door behind him. Amelia sat there, her heart pounding. She couldn't believe Mark would accuse her of such a thing. She was being professional, objective, and fair. And he was throwing it all back in her face. A week later, another wedding invitation arrived. This one was hand-delivered by Chloe herself, who appeared at Amelia's door, looking contrite. Amelia, can we talk? She pleaded, her voice soft. Amelia hesitated, then sighed. Fine. Come in. Chloe stepped inside, looking around the small apartment. I miss you, she said, her eyes welling up. I hate that we're fighting. Amelia crossed her arms, trying to remain stoic. You kind of brought it on yourself, Chloe. I know, Chloe said, tears streaming down her face. I was being selfish and insensitive. I want you to be happy. And I want you at my wedding. She handed Amelia the invitation. Please, Amelia. Just think about it. Amelia took the invitation, avoiding Chloe's gaze. And, Chloe continued, sniffing, I know things are awkward with Mark working at your company. He told me about the warning you gave him. Please don't fire him, Amelia. He really needs this job. Amelia's anger flared again. So, Mark had run to Chloe, complaining about his mean boss who was out to get him. Chloe, I gave Mark a warning because his performance is subpar, Amelia said, her voice tight. It has nothing to do with you or our history. But Chloe began to protest. No, Chloe, Amelia interrupted. I'm not going to discuss Mark's job with you. It's unprofessional, and it's none of your business. Chloe burst into tears again. I just want everyone to be happy, she sobbed. Why is that so hard? Amelia felt a flicker of sympathy for her sister. Chloe genuinely wanted everyone to be happy, but she was often blind to the consequences of her actions. "Chloe, I can't promise you anything about Mark's job," Amelia said, her voice softening slightly. "He needs to improve his performance, and that's all there is to it. As for the wedding, I'll think about it." Chloe threw her arms around Amelia, hugging her tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for considering it." After Chloe left, Amelia stared at the wedding invitation. Part of her wanted to throw it in the trash, to completely cut ties with her sister and move on with her life. But another part of her missed Chloe. She missed their shared childhood, their inside jokes, their unwavering support for each other. She sighed, knowing she couldn't stay angry forever. But she also couldn't pretend that everything was okay. She needed to set boundaries, to protect herself from further hurt. The next day at work, Amelia received an unexpected visitor, Mr. Abernathy. He closed the door behind him and sat down heavily in the chair opposite her desk. He looked troubled. "Amelia," he began, "I need to talk to you about something sensitive." Amelia's heart sank. This couldn't be good. "I've received some concerning information regarding your handling of one of your employees," Mr. Abernathy said, his voice grave. Amelia braced herself. She knew exactly where this was going. "Specifically, I've been told that you're unfairly targeting Mark Harrison because of a personal relationship with his fiancée, your sister." Amelia's jaw dropped. "That's absurd," she exclaimed. "Mark's performance is genuinely lacking. I've given him a fair warning, just like I would any other employee." "I understand that's your perspective," Mr. Abernathy said, "but the perception is that you're abusing your power. And perception is important, Amelia." "But it's not true." Amelia protested. "I'm being professional. I'm being objective." Mr. Abernathy sighed. "Look, Amelia, I believe you. I know you're a talented and dedicated employee. But this situation is complicated. I'm going to need you to tread carefully." He paused, then continued, "In fact, I'm going to ask you to recuse yourself from any further decisions regarding Mark Harrison's employment. I'll assign someone else to manage him." Amelia felt a surge of anger and frustration. She was being punished for doing her job. She was being forced to back down because of a false accusation. "That's not fair," she said, her voice shaking. "I'm being penalized for something I didn't do." "I know it's not ideal," Mr. Abernathy said, "but it's the best way to avoid any further complications. I need you focused on your primary responsibilities, Amelia. We're still evaluating your performance as interim marketing director, and I can't afford any distractions." Amelia felt defeated. She was being sidelined, her authority undermined. And all because of Mark and Chloe. As Mr. Abernathy was about to leave, he paused at the door. "There's one more thing, Amelia," he said, his voice low. "I've also received information about your romantic interest in Mark Harrison prior to his engagement to your sister." Amelia's face flushed with embarrassment. How did he know about that? Had Mark or Chloe told him? "I'm not going to pry into your personal life, Amelia," Mr. Abernathy continued, "but I need to be clear, any further pursuit of a relationship with Mark Harrison would be highly inappropriate and would jeopardize your position at Stellartech." Amelia was speechless. She was being warned to stay away from her sister's fiancé, as if she were some kind of predatory homewrecker. "I understand," she mumbled, her voice barely audible. Mr. Abernathy nodded and left the office. Amelia sat there, feeling humiliated and betrayed. She had been completely blindsided. Just when she thought things couldn't get any worse, her phone rang. It was an unknown number. She hesitated, then answered it. "Hello." Amelia Sterling, a voice on the other end said. "Yes, speaking. This is Detective Miller from the Metropolitan Police Department. We'd like to speak with you regarding an ongoing investigation." Amelia's heart leaped into her throat. "An investigation? What kind of investigation?" "It's regarding Stellartech," Detective Miller said. "Specifically, we're investigating allegations of corporate espionage and data theft." Amelia's mind went blank. Corporate espionage? Data theft? What was going on? "I don't understand," she stammered. "What does this have to do with me?" We believe you may have information that could be helpful to our investigation, Detective Miller said. We'd like to meet with you as soon as possible. Amelia agreed to meet with Detective Miller the following day. She hung up the phone, her hands shaking. She had no idea what was going on, but she knew it couldn't be good. The next day, Amelia met with Detective Miller at a coffee shop near the police station. Detective Miller was a middle-aged woman with a sharp gaze and a no-nonsense demeanor. "Thank you for coming in, Miss Sterling," she said, taking a seat across from Amelia. "I know this must be unsettling, but I assure you, your cooperation is greatly appreciated." Amelia nodded, trying to appear calm. "I'm happy to help in any way I can," she said. "But I still don't understand what's going on." Detective Miller took a sip of her coffee. "As I mentioned yesterday, we're investigating allegations of corporate espionage and data theft at Stellartech. We believe that sensitive information has been leaked to a competitor, resulting in significant financial losses for the company." Amelia's eyes widened. "That's terrible," she exclaimed. "But why do you think I have information about this?" "We've been reviewing internal communications at Stellartech," Detective Miller said, "and we've noticed a pattern of suspicious activity involving several employees, including you." Amelia's heart sank. "Suspicious activity? What are you talking about?" "We've identified several instances where you accessed confidential files and documents that were not directly related to your job responsibilities," Detective Miller said. "We've also noticed a significant increase in your email and phone communications with individuals outside the company." Amelia was stunned. "That's ridiculous," she protested. "I access confidential files all the time as part of my job. And I communicate with people outside the company all the time. It's called networking." "I understand that," Detective Miller said, "but the timing of these activities is suspicious. They coincide with the period when the data breach is believed to have occurred." Amelia felt a wave of panic wash over her. She was being implicated in a crime she didn't commit. "I swear, I have nothing to do with this," she said, her voice shaking. "I would never do anything to harm Stellartech. I love my job." Detective Miller studied her for a moment, her expression unreadable. "I want to believe you, Miss Sterling," she said, "but the evidence is concerning. We need your help to clear things up." She paused, then continued, "I'm going to ask you some questions about your activities at Stellartech. I need you to be completely honest with me. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." Amelia nodded, her throat dry. This was getting serious. Detective Miller spent the next 2 hours grilling Amelia about her work at Stellartech, her access to confidential information, and her communications with people outside the company. Amelia answered every question to the best of her ability, trying to explain her actions and defend her innocence. She felt like she was being interrogated, even though Detective Miller insisted she was just gathering information. As the interview drew to a close, Detective Miller asked one final question. "Miss Sterling," she said, "are you aware of anyone at Stellartech who might have a motive to steal confidential information and leak it to a competitor?" Amelia hesitated. She thought about Mark, his recent struggles at work, his strained relationship with her. Could he be involved in the data breach? But she quickly dismissed the idea. Mark was a decent person, despite his flaws. He wouldn't do something like that. "No," she said, shaking her head. "I can't think of anyone." Detective Miller nodded, her expression unchanged. "Thank you for your time, Miss Sterling," she said. "We may need to contact you again in the future." Amelia left the coffee shop feeling shaken and bewildered. She couldn't believe she was being investigated for corporate espionage. It was a nightmare. Back at Stellartech, Amelia found herself ostracized. Word had spread about the police investigation, and her colleagues were avoiding her. She felt like a pariah. Mr. Abernathy summoned her to his office again. This time, his tone was cold and distant. "Amelia," he said, "I'm suspending you from your duties as interim marketing director, effective immediately." Amelia's heart sank. "What? Why?" "The police investigation is a serious matter," Mr. Abernathy said. "I can't have someone under suspicion leading the marketing department. It's a risk to the company." "But I'm innocent," Amelia protested. "I haven't done anything wrong." "I hope that's true, Amelia," Mr. Abernathy said, "but I can't take any chances." You'll be on paid leave until the investigation is resolved. Amelia felt tears welling up in her eyes. She was being stripped of her job, her reputation tarnished, all because of a crime she didn't commit. This isn't fair, she said, her voice shaking. I've worked so hard for this opportunity. I'm sorry, Amelia, Mr. Abernathy said, but my priority is protecting the company. I hope you understand. Amelia left his office feeling numb. She had lost everything. Her job, her reputation, her sense of self-worth. As she was packing up her belongings, she received a text message from an unknown number. Meet me at the old warehouse on Elm Street tonight at 10 p.m. I have information that will clear your name. Amelia stared at the message, her mind racing. Who was this? What did they know? She hesitated, then decided to go. She had nothing to lose. That night, Amelia drove to the old warehouse on Elm Street. The area was deserted, and the warehouse looked dilapidated and abandoned. She parked her car and walked towards the entrance, her heart pounding. The warehouse door was slightly ajar. She pushed it open and stepped inside. The warehouse was dark and dusty, with cobwebs hanging from the ceiling. Hello, she called out, her voice echoing in the vast space. Is anyone there? Suddenly, the lights flickered on, revealing a figure standing in the shadows. It was Mark Harrison. Amelia's jaw dropped. Mark. What are you doing here? Mark stepped forward, his expression grim. I needed to talk to you, Amelia, he said. About what? Amelia asked, her voice wary. About the data breach, Mark said. I know who's responsible. Amelia's eyes widened. You do? Who is it? It's Chloe, Mark said, his voice barely above a whisper. Amelia stared at him, stunned. Chloe. My sister. You're saying my sister is responsible for the data breach? Mark nodded. I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. I have proof. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a USB drive. This contains evidence that links Chloe to the data theft. I overheard her talking to someone on the phone, arranging to sell the information to a competitor. Amelia was reeling. She couldn't believe her sister would do something like that. Why would Chloe do this? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like and share your thoughts.